It seems every few months that there's this new article or new video that comes out that sparks widespread discussion about the music of today. Whether or not it's just because of the inherent negativity bias of the internet, it seems that the same arguments come up time after time. The music industry is dying. Music is not as good as it was back in the day. The market is oversaturated. Streaming is evil. Blah, blah, blah. Well, the fact of the matter is that while some of the premises of these arguments may have some validity, ultimately I think that the conclusions that they reach are usually BS. And I think that the responsibility for any given person's enjoyment of the music of today is in the hands of the consumers, not giant corporations and not the creators of the music themselves. So today I want to talk about 9 ways to change your listening habits or perspective in order to reinvigorate your music listening experience and take ownership of it. So first of all, stop listening to background music. It seems that one of the arguments that also comes up with these articles is that music is just cheaper today. There's just way too much of it, people don't pay for it anymore, and people are listening to it all the time, which kind of reduces its value. But the truth is that you control the input, not the people that are making it. You choose what and when to listen to it, not anyone else. So just like in economics, the more you have of something, the less valuable it becomes. Therefore, if you listen to music less often, then you will value it more. So instead of putting background music on to distract you from the boring minutiae of your life, maybe you should just sit down with the sole intention of listening to music. Next up, we have what I call my 1-week challenge. So this for me is to pick one album that you will listen to exclusively for a week. So obviously with only having one thing to listen to, you're going to develop a much better understanding of it and a much deeper connection to it. So this ties into a point that I made in one of my previous videos about writer's block and listening to music that you hate. By doing this, you'll develop the habit of actually trying to give the music a chance instead of skipping within the first 15 seconds of hearing a song and not liking it. What will inevitably happen with this challenge leads me to my next point of listening to different dimensions of the music. So if you're listening to the same album over and over again, like 10, 20, 30, 50 times within a week, whether you like it or not, you're going to get bored of it. So you're going to start listening to different dimensions of the music. You could do like I was talking about in my video about oral sonology, of listening to the drums or listening to the form or listening to anything other than what you always listen to, basically. You could also listen to the songs in a different order and see how that changes your impression of them. My next point could also be a side effect of the last 2 points of listening to different genres. Sometimes I find that the reason we don't like a genre is because we don't know what to listen for. Now in the future, I'll probably make some videos discussing what I think each genre has to offer in terms of interesting listening points. But if you're listening to the same album over and over again, you'll be pretty familiar with all dimensions of the music, hopefully, if you're paying attention. And so you'll probably stumble across some artists that will kind of be your gateway drugs into new genres. I remember a saying that a teacher used to have when I was at music school, that you can't say that you don't like an artist until you've heard 10 of their albums. Now, this was in a jazz context, and jazz musicians typically have many more albums in their discography than most mainstream artists. But if I were to adapt this saying to the pop world or a more mainstream world, then I would say you can't say that you don't like an artist until you've heard 10 of their songs. Basically come down to just kind of give it a chance and see what it's trying to be instead of imposing your own expectations on what the music should be. Number 5 is another thing that I've been loving over the past few years, which is to use music as timestamps for your life. I'm sure that we all have songs or albums that are strongly tied to very specific memories. For a long time, this would just happen to me kind of randomly and I didn't really have control over it. But at one point I was on vacation and I tried to do it on purpose. So something spontaneous had just happened, or I was seeing something that was like really making an impression on me, and there happened to be a song that was playing at the same time. So I wanted to make this memory as strong and as long as possible. So I just played that song on a loop for probably 30 minutes or something. And then I would keep doing this over and over again throughout my life. Whenever like I would be preparing for some big event or something really big had happened, or I'm experiencing a new emotion for the first time, I would put on a song and just loop it until that kind of feeling went away. And now I have so many songs that are really strongly tied to like feelings or specific memories in my life. And I find that that's such a huge tool for just noticing more and connecting more to music as well. After doing all those things, if you have done them all, another way that you can expand your perspective and enjoyment of music is to talk to someone else about what you're listening to. You'll often find that they notice very different things than you do. So being able to have this sort of interactive conversation with someone about what they're hearing and what you're hearing really allows you to connect more deeply with the music. The person that you're talking to will have different connections to other artists or different songs or different experiences with that music, and just discussing those could lead you to discover new music or hear it in a different way too. So number 7 is not watch music videos if you're listening to a song for the first time. Now maybe it's just me, but I find that every time that I've listened to a song for the first time and watched the video at the same time, I have not enjoyed that song at all. I typically find that the music videos are super distracting, and at least from my experience, I never really find that the music and the video gel that well together, and usually that will kind of ruin my enjoyment of the music for a long time. Maybe this is not the case for you, but you should at least ask yourself and notice whether the music video is adding to your enjoyment of the song or removing from it. So instead of watching the music videos, I recommend point number 8, which is instead to watch the live performances or interviews. Now, there have been artists that, having only heard the audio, I didn't like, but then when I saw them perform or heard them speak, I kind of got a new understanding and appreciation for what they do, what they look like, and their body language really somehow informs the music, even if it is, I guess you could say, unrelated. But just kind of seeing the person and not seeing their ridiculous outfit from a music video, or just hearing their kind of perfect sounding voice or playing on a recording, really puts the message of the music across in a more efficient and human way. Which is not to say that I dislike perfect sounding production. I find that seeing the person or seeing them perform it tends to give more of a 3D sense to the music. And my last point is kind of a last resort because it's a lot to ask, but if you want to enjoy music more, you could try to learn how to play an instrument or make some yourself. If nothing else, it will just appreciate your enjoyment for the craft of music and appreciate the difficulty and the skill involved in making it. Even if it's just picking up a guitar for like 5 minutes, you will understand how hard it is to perform at the level that we typically hear or that we typically expect of artists in 2020. So if you're still wondering what the point of this video is, it's basically this. If you think that music is cheap today, music sucks today, it was better back in the day, my response to that is you're probably just not trying hard enough. If you know how to look and if you take the time to give music a chance, there's plenty of good music being made today. So really the enjoyment of music lies in your hands, not in anyone else's. My hope is that this discussion uplifts you and changes the way you think about how you listen to music and what you choose to listen to. So if any of you have listening habits that you think are particular to you or that would also help to increase the enjoyment of music listening for others, please share them in the comments below. I would love to try them out myself. My name is Nick Gaumont. See you later.